We're here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Bring news just for you. It's Friday, May 23rd here in Seoul. I'm Song Yujin and welcome to News Generation. Joining us today is Kwon Ji-yeon.
Happy Friday!
Happy Friday! And Im Sang-yeon.
Good to see you guys.
Good to see you. Now, both are here to speak on behalf of those in their 20s and 30s. As you know, Friday is when we discuss topics that resonate with young people around the world. Now, whether it's finding it, nurturing it, or moving on from it, love always seems to be on the minds of young people. So today on News Gen, we're going to take a closer look at the latest dating trends among young people. So starting off, Ji-yeon, how active would you say millennials and Gen Z are when it comes to dating these days?
Well, they are quite active indeed. They are busy. Well, dating and meeting someone. A recent survey in Korea asked this question: how many romantic relationships have you had so far? The results showed that around 38% said they have dated 3 to 5 times, and 17% said they have had 6 or more relationships in their life, and roughly a third said they have only dated once or twice, and just 12% have never dated at all. So overall, it looks like most Gen Zs here actually aren't shy about romance. Clearly, love is a big part of their life for this generation indeed.
Right, because looking at the stats you mentioned, besides those who answered they've never been in a relationship, which I remember is 12%, that means almost 90% of the respondents were actually in a relationship in a relationship.
That's right.
Okay, so in recent years, we've also been seeing a wave of really creative or unconventional dating trends popping up around the world, which we've mentioned several times on Newsden before as well. So Ji-yeon, could you also introduce us to some of the latest and most standout dating trends among our generation?
Well, the dating trends are always changing, but there's also something called very unique one: friendship marriage. It first appeared in Japan a few years ago, but now it's catching on among young people in China. You know, these days faced with pressure from family and relatives, society to get married, whenever you have those family gatherings, the question that they ask is, when are you going to tie the knot? So instead of marrying their instead of marrying their significant other, they chose their close friend instead.
Wow.
They live together, share expenses, and best of all, avoid the stress of dating drama. When you date someone, you have those dramas, emotional ups and downs every day. And on this major social media platform that is Weibo in China, it says this interesting thing. They have this post: looking for someone to marry, romance optional. Yes, it's a practical setup that allows for independence, emotional peace, and freedom to love on your own terms. It works for finding for someone who looking for, who hates pineapple pizza, someone who works at a gym, or someone who works at a finance. So
those are important, actually.
That's the important part, but those kind of the option that they are looking for these days.
That is very interesting and a very new concept of dating and marriage. What could be some other examples, Sang-yeon?
Well, there were some interesting findings as I was searching for this topic. And by the way, I hate pineapple pizza as well. Okay, so in Japan, a new trend actually has emerged called the full-time girlfriend. So she takes care of all the housework for her boyfriend, doing the laundry, cleaning, packing his lunch, and even preparing an elaborate birthday meal. And in return, the boyfriend gives allowances or even some luxury gifts. Now, a similar concept exists in the US as well, known as stay-at-home girlfriends. And these women cook, clean, and take care of all the household for their boyfriends.
Like a housewife, right?
Right, while maintaining the appearance of themselves through strict self-care and therapist routines to stay at the top of the game visually. Okay, and the trend reflects how Gen Z is moving away from the hustle culture symbolized by the girl boss ideal, and instead dreaming of a more relaxed and comfortable lifestyle. And videos showing the daily lives of stay-at-home girlfriends has gone viral in TikTok.
Very fascinating. So we've taken a look at some very unique dating trends, but now from a broader perspective, we're going to take a look at some of the most common or consistent dating trends among young people globally. So what are they?
Well, the overall trend in terms of dating these days is changing and taking a bold new turn. And people aren't afraid to say exactly what they want from their partner. I told you about the looking for something post. According to Tinder, one of the biggest global trends in dating right now is something called loud looking.
Loud looking.
Clearly and confidently say what you want in a partner. So back in 2024 last year, the most common phrase in Tinder profiles was looking for someone. It shows that people are being more open and direct about what they actually want from their partner. So I told you, someone who hits the gym at least 3 times a week, or someone who loves dogs, or who is a person who works at a education or different field that they want. It sounds practical in some way, but it could be a time saver, but that's not really how we'll build up. We treat relationships. That kind of logic doesn't really apply to human ties, human relationships.
Right, because in the past, when you laid out all these conditions, many people would have told you that you are really, really picky. But nowadays, young people aren't really shy.
It's optional.
Wow, that is once again very mind-boggling and attention-grabbing. Then Sang, I want to ask you, how specific can these conditions be?
Yeah, so in a similar vein, creating a detailed ideal type list has become a trend among Gen Z. So instead of simply writing something vague like I want someone who's kind or who's good looking, they describe their ideal partner in a very specific terms. For example, someone who gently brushes my hair aside so it doesn't touch the food while I eat, or someone who buys me a spicy food when I'm stressed out without making me to ask for it. So these lists often include anywhere from 10 to over 50 such detailed traits.
Wow.
And in Korea, YouTubers like Ian or Charles Antar also gained attention by sharing videos on how to create your own ideal type list.
I mean, I'm not that of a creative person, so I'm not sure how we can come up with 50 different conditions, but we're now gonna kind of take a look at what young people truly value or prioritize when finding them. Let's look at what this list is made of.
Yes, let's look at the numbers first of all, what the people say. Well, Tinder recently surveyed 4,000 Gen Z users in English-speaking countries in order to find out what really matters most when it comes to dating, when they build up the relationship. Top of the list was trust.
Very important.
That's right, chosen by 40% of respondents. Faith was the most important part. That was followed by physical attraction. I do agree with that. And shared values, what you share the most. And emotional connection followed, and common hobbies was the last part that they valued. So that's what people are looking for. But what about deal breakers? What turns people off the most? Number 1 was poor hygiene. They have dirts under their fingernail. Then came rudeness, being rude to the partner, rude to their parents, or rude to other people. And talking is not just talking about your ex, it's talking way too much about your ex-girlfriend, ex-partner, which put off 34% of those surveys. So yes, trust is key, but don't forget to wash your hands and mind your manners.
They are really important. Okay, so to find out what our viewers think about today's topic, we ran a poll on our Arirang YouTube channel, asking them what matters most to you when choosing a partner. If we look at the results, 69% chose personality, followed by financial stability, 17%, and last but not least, appearance, 14%. We're also going to read out 3 comments. DS92KO, definitely personality, a good sense of humor, and kindness really do go a long way. Brown Giraffe 33 says, I'm drawn to genuine connection over surface level traits, so personality matters to me the most. Our final comment for this Friday is by Daniel Gun Kim. Chemistry, even if the guy or girl is attractive, if there isn't chemistry in your conversations, it's hard. I think after that, it's respect and then looks. Chemistry is indeed important when defining a relationship. Okay, so to widen our conversation even further, after the break, we'll be joined by a Spanish Gen Z to hear his take on dating and relationships in his country and culture.
NewsGen wants to hear from you. Go to YouTube and search our channel Arirang News. Click Community and leave a comment down below. Make a new type of news with us.
In my opinion, it would be mutual understanding, but also mutual attraction. You cannot have one without the other. When it comes to understanding, it's not only about liking the same music or the same food. It's also about that social partnership. We need to share values. We need to share limits. Also have some kind of like financial flow between each other. And so to have that, there is also a sense of responsibility. But at the same time, you cannot have that without attraction. Attraction is not only physical and superficial, but also that spark of the way someone speaks or moves. And if you don't really have that, it's hard for people to commit to the responsibilities of that kind of communication. So basically, finding balance between both of those. Yes, for the last few years, dating apps have been very important because they always avoid the awkwardness of being rejected in real life, but they also have a very direct approach. You also have social media where you have that kind of consent, but it's a little bit more organic, a little bit more natural. However, I think in Spain, there's been a very slight shift in the past few years where people are trying to not use apps that much. For example, a very famous Spanish newspaper called El País did a study on it, and around 40% of the population have used dating apps before, with 80% of the population being engaged in relationships that come from the internet. However, very famous apps like Tinder or Bumble have seen a 70% value decrease in the last 5 years, which goes to show that there's still this kind of lingering shame or lingering stigma around online relationships, which means that people are craving for something more natural or organic. So a lot of shared activities, a lot of hobbies are being the trend right now. Even in Korea, I have a lot of friends who are attending these running groups. I don't know if you have heard about those, but they have become the new Tinder, where you can swipe left and right, but in real life. The most basic advice would be to be transparent and having good communication skills, which I think are non-negotiable. But I would also add adaptability and self-awareness into the mix. Especially in Western cultures, we have this very growing movement of self-love and self-confidence, which is obviously very important and great. But at the same time, you cannot expect people to just take you as you are. We need to be open to growth and to adapt to other people's standards, just as we have our own standards. So by having only our own standards and trying to let people to adapt to those, we are creating this kind of wall. And to have a very healthy and long-lasting relationship is very important to be open to not only change things about yourself, but also grow and try to keep that respect inside the relationship.
Once again, we'd like to thank our guest for sharing the thoughts and the time today. And wrapping up today's episode, we're each going to share what we believe is the key to maintaining a strong and loving relationship with everybody, which is what everybody dreams of. So starting with you, Jian, you're the only person in the studio who is married, who has kids, and is having a very happy and loving marriage life. So what do you think is the top priority when trying to maintain this relationship?
I was thinking about my dating time back in the days. But what really matters most in a relationship? I was thinking about this question for 10 minutes, and if you ask me, it all comes down to communication, conversation between your partner. So good conversation helps build trust and emotional intimacy. It's how you get to know each other deeply, not just on the surface. So these days in dating, and these days there are so many dating shows, including I Am Solo. If you look at those shows, one of the most common questions that people ask early on, even before they build up their relationship, how do you handle conflict? If you have a fight with your partner, how do you solve it? That was kind of a good question. It's a good reason that you asked that, because challenges will come. You will have that hurdle in your life. And how you talk through them matters more than ever. So being honest about what you need and speaking up when something bothers you isn't always easy, but what matters, love lasts. And some people try to bottle up their feelings a lot. They don't speak that much, but that only builds distance. And talking may not fix everything, but not talking definitely won't.
Right, it worsens the situation. Right?
That is correct, yes.
But I think that a lot of our viewers who are watching, they might wonder, how can I be honest, but at the same time not hurt my partner's feelings? So do you have any tips on that too?
Okay, being honest and not hurting my partner's feeling and emotions. Well, I think that you've got to speak how you feel first. You have to speak up and you have to show that how you feel and the circumstances that is happening around you. I think that's the first step that you have to approach your partner.
Very important tip. Now, what's your tip, Sang-yeon?
Appearance.
Appearance.
Physical appearance.
Also, that's what you prioritize.
But don't get me wrong, I'm not someone who only prioritizes appearance. But I do believe that appearance really matters in terms of relationship. And let's be honest, you guys, even the 6-month infants prefer to be hugged by someone who's pretty or handsome. So I think appearance is in fact like a human nature to pursue someone who's good looking or beautiful. So to maintain positive feelings toward each other, neither side should neglect their appearance. So it's important to stay in a condition where you can continue to make your partner feel attracted and excited through self-care and personal grooming. And when I mean by appearance here, I'm not saying that you should be handsome like a celebrity, but you should at least keep yourself neat and tidy. So if you think that you're not that good looking, well, then at least try to stay clean. And I think self-care is like a manner for your loved ones too. And recently I can see that many women are actually prioritizing the looks and the appearance over financial capability when they look for men. And I think this is one of the reasons that is actually related to what we've mentioned in the beginning. As more women get independent and as they have more raise in their financial income, I think for women's perspective, they rather than just like pursuing only the financial the talents of a man or their financial capabilities, I think women are now tending to diversify their lens of looking their ideal partners. And I think this is just a natural phase of where our society is progressing in terms of finding ideal partner.
Right, and Sang-yeon, you mentioned how self-care and personal grooming are important when maintaining a loving relationship. So I'd like to personally ask you, is there anything that you personally do to take care of yourself?
Well, for men,
For men?
well, I guess, actually for men, you don't really have to put on like a happy makeups, but you can at least try to groom your eyebrows and the nostril hairs as well. So I mean, those kind of things actually make your appearance to another level, because for men, staying tidy is actually the key to attractive appearance. So that, and also for men, I think physical appearance also matters. So why don't you guys go to fitness centers, go to gyms,
Work out regularly.
Work out regularly.
Hit the gym every day.
Yes.
Do you hit the gym every day?
Well, not every day, but I try to go there like 3 times a week. Yeah.
All right. Hope our discussion today and our tips today helps you find love and maintain a healthy and loving relationship. And that's all we have for today and this week's News Generation. But we will be back, as you know, next Monday at 10:30 a.m. Korea time. Special thanks to Kwon Ji-yeon.
Have a lovely and romantic day.
Thank you. I'll try to. And Im Sang-yeon.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. And to our viewers, thank you for joining us throughout the week. Hope you have a nice weekend and we'll see you next week. We are
News Generation.